Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday, October 27th, and the doctor is in. Let's go on the record. State Representative John Santiago, who also practices emergency medicine at Boston Medical Center. How the opioid crisis has hit his South End district hard, and how he's fighting for change.
The Democratic debate over health care. Would you chuck your plan for single payer?
And Beacon Hill tackles the issue of youth football safety. Should the government step in or let parents make the call? Let's go on the record.
From WCVB Channel 5, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to OTR on this. Are you ready? Last Sunday in October.
Goes quick.
It doesn't go quick, doesn't it? I'm Ed Harding, along with News Center 5's political reporter Janet Wu. Thank you for joining us. And our guest this morning is State Rep John Santiago. He is a Democrat. He is representing the 9th Suffolk District. He is serving his first term. Also, as we mentioned, an emergency room physician at Boston Medical Center, captain in the Army Reserve. His educational background includes degrees from the University of Texas, the University of Washington, and Yale Medical School. So great to have you with us this morning.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think a lot of your colleagues look to you for guidance and information on the opioid crisis because you are a doctor, but you've sort of been a leader in this entire controversy as the sort of the entire country wrestles with the lawsuits and the trials that are anticipated. Where do you stand? Do you think that states should settle, or should they proceed to the lengthy court battle?
I think ultimately we will get to a place where we will settle and get a significant amount of money to really invest into what the opioid epidemic has caused. I mean, we're talking about 2,000 people dying per year in the state of Massachusetts. And particularly, and as that curve is kind of settled down, but you still have a number of people dying, particularly within the African American community. So there's a lot of work to be done. And that's just overdose deaths, because it's important to realize maybe we're just saving more lives or getting people more access to Narcan. Because what I see every day on Mass and Cass, the district I represent, and the people that I see, I mean, it's still a pretty significant disease out there that's hurting a lot of people.
But do you feel that going to a lengthy trial is not the right thing? That what they're doing right now is just pushing them for a better settlement? And do you think, like families, like the Sackler family, should be also putting into it? It should not be just their companies.
Absolutely. I think they should be held accountable. And I have full faith and trust in the Attorney General, Maura Healey, to get the job done. Yeah.
And do you think that court battle should be avoided?
Well, I'm optimistic that they have the information that they need to get something done, and that however we can best protect the interests of the people that were most hurt by this. That's what I'm for. You
just used a term that I would love to have you explain to people, because thanks to us, we call it something else. You just used Mass and Cass.
That's correct. Yeah. So for a long time, people have used the term methadone mild,
which is what we use on television.
Yeah,
to be honest
and
with
it's not a good term. It really adds to the stigma, because fundamentally this is an issue of stigma, and this is why it's so hard to find money resources to help these folks out. And so we call it what it is: Mass and Cass, Massachusetts Avenue and Milnia Cass.
So you practice right smack in the middle of Mass and Cass.
And I live just a couple blocks away from there.
So you live just.
So I can speak to the issues not just as a physician who cares for these people day in, day out. I also jog the area, and I live down the street. I live just off Mass Ave, so I see the needles on the streets. I see people walking around injecting and high. And for me, it's a quality of life issue, but it's also people dying and my patients suffering. So
you see all those things. Are you seeing improvement, as some of the recent statistics imply?
Well, this is.
Or is it just as severe anecdotally from your observation?
Well, I'll be honest with you. This is such a complicated issue, and I think we as physicians and as policymakers have done not a good job at explaining how difficult and how sick these patients are. I think sometimes we as policymakers or elected officials say, just provide more services. But these people are sick. I mean, I'll see patients. I mean, I just worked this past weekend.
Right.
I saw at least 5 or 6 patients either overdosed or had some sort of sequelae secondary to opioid use disorder, and that some of them almost died. And you offer them services, and they might not want services. And so we need to do a better job to explain how sick these folks are, and need to be very intentional about what services we offer them. And this is why it's important that we understand the continuum of care. We just can't put a lot of detox services out there, because to be honest with you, it's quite easy for me to get them a detox bed.
Right.
However, if I want them to transition down the continuum of care to some short-term recovery, it's very difficult. And so that's why boots on the ground and a person like me who understands the epidemic at that level can really speak to my colleagues up in Beacon Hill and to the governor's office to let them know what I'm seeing on the ground.
Do you see fewer cases now than you did before, or is it same stream of people?
It's the same people. It's a difficult epidemic, and I still feel we have a long way to go. And I think given the evolving nature of the epidemic, particularly with respect to the role that fentanyl's playing and the role that methamphetamine's playing. A lot of people would say opioid overdose, you inject, you're kind of high, you're kind of nodding off, but now people people are using polysubstances, things like methamphetamine,
Right.
and that really excites someone. And that can be scary for someone walking the street and not knowing what's going on.
We can't let you go without talking about politics itself, not
Sure,
just
yeah.
the other half of your life now.
Yeah.
Your election was a little bit over a year ago.
Correct.
It was sort of a big surprise to a lot of Beacon Hill insiders, including myself, to be quite honest. You slayed a major political giant, Byron Rushing, who had been there for 36 years. Now you've been actually in office for, 11 months now?
Mm-hmm.
What's your view? Is House leadership stale? Is it reluctant to share power with newcomers like yourself?
Absolutely not. I have to really, thank Speaker DeLeo and people like Representative Mikowitz. I was a bit intimidated when I first got in there. I beat one of their colleagues, the person who had served with them for many years. And the first thing I did was to sit down with leadership and said, listen, I'm here to work and hustle and be effective and represent my community. And they've been very open to conversations on a whole host of issues, particularly the opioid epidemic. Just this, week we were able to find $1 million investment to give to Mass and Cass. And that's because we were lobbying, and I made a pitch, and they believed in the work that I've
investment
done.
will be used for?
So as you may or may not be aware, a couple of weeks ago, the mayor of Boston, through a lot of advocacy from city agencies and the people of the South and in Roxbury, to really push for a comprehensive plan to address Mass and Cass, Mass and Cass 2.0. And so it came out of just the complicated nature of the issue. We can't talk about Long Island. We need something in the short term. And so this is going to invest boots on the ground, focus on public health, public safety, and quality of life for the neighbors of the South End. And so, but they need funds. And so I went to the State House, lobbied for that, spoke to House leadership, spoke to the governor, and we were able to get, upwards of towards $1 million in the House budget.
I want to talk about, this next question kind of fits under both hats that you wear. Safe injection sites. What is your feeling about safe injection sites?
Well, as a physician and as an academic and as a scientist and someone who believes in data, I believe in safe injection sites, or safe consumption sites as I call them. Now, they're different models. And so we don't do a favor to the debate, to the discussion, if we just say, do you believe in safe injection sites, yes or no? Obviously, it's a very controversial issue, and it's one piece of the pie. We're going to have a comprehensive effort to really address what's going on. So can safe consumption sites be a part of that? Absolutely. They do save lives. But if we're not willing to invest the resources and the beds and the people to do something about it, well then we have to reconsider our options.
What do you say to people like U.S. Attorney Andrew Lelling, who was here on our show just a few weeks ago, and he said that, no matter how you look at it, it is a violation of federal law. That's how he sees it. It's a felony. What do you say to him?
Well, so is marijuana. So is smoking marijuana.
It was,
federally,
yes.
yeah.
Federally. It still is federally.
Federally,
Yeah,
right.
And we've done something in the state. I think the same argument was made for needle exchanges. And those have grown in popularity, and those save lives, decrease HIV and hepatitis C infections, and do a lot of good work. And I think, given how bad the situation has become, we really have to have all hands on deck and have to have all options at the table. And I think safe consumption sites is one of those.
You ready for the OTR Pop quiz?
I'll do my best, knock on wood.
This is hardwood too,
Yeah.
so you can go ahead and
I should
knock
tell
on this.
people at home that he's been talking about this pop
I know,
since he
yeah.
walked into the building.
This is the nerd in me.
Here we go. So we're going to start with some medical drama. ER, which ran on NBC for 15 seasons, was the creation of a doctor who was also a writer. On the screen, we have multiple choices. Who was that person? Robin Cook, Ethan Kanan, or Michael Crichton?
Oh, my ER drama is Grey's Anatomy, but my wife would. She's a big fan of ER. I'm going to have to take a guess and say Michael Crichton.
You nailed it. He was an undergrad at Harvard and received his doctorate from Harvard Medical
He
School.
wrote Jurassic Park, right?
And, oh, look at you.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Bonus
no
points.
extra points for that, by the way.
Okay, all right.
We're talking medical, not dinosaurs. Okay, ready. We're going to stick with TV doctors for question 2. Neil Patrick Harris played the title character in Doogie Howser, MD, about a teenage doctor. Doogie is a nickname. What is the character's real first name? Was it David, Douglas, or Donald?
I think the obvious answer is Douglas.
And that's what it is. Don't go any further. Doogie Howser ran on ABC for 4 seasons from 89 to 93. Wilbur, you're 2 for 2, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't want to put any pressure on you, but 4 for 4 is pretty good. We'll be right back with John Santiago.